What is going on, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my ideas and improvements for a Kirby Air Ride sequel. In the previous video, I didn't go over too much in the city trial section since the formula for it is already fantastic and offers a lot of replayability. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend checking it out at some point. I go over how to improve on all 3 modes and the core foundation, but basically for city trial, I suggested to just make it bigger, more maps or sections to explore, and more events that can occur. In other words, just give us more! Anyways, one idea that crossed my mind recently was to add evolved air rides. Kirby Air Ride, in a way, have one with the Warp Star that's only available through free run, but what if other air rides can have an upgraded version as well? Implementing this would add more to the replayability and give the players even more incentive to try out different air rides. Now, this will be exclusive to the non-legendary rides since these are supposed to be the best, a one-of-a-kind that you have to scour the map for and battle others to obtain. For that reason, and just to give the other rides a bit of a fair shake, the evolved upgrades should only be for the regular air rides. Now, accomplishing this is something that was a bit tricky for me to come up with, but decided that it should be a 2-step process. The first step is to collect enough star points to fill the evolve meter. It will basically be like the Kirby games where there is the standard yellow, green, red, and blue star that can be found lying about. The next step is where it gets a little interesting. Each air ride will have their own unique way to be upgraded. For example, the Warp Star would just need to glide through a certain amount of rings in the sky in order for it to evolve. I haven't thought of what step each air ride would need to do in order for it to transform, but I have thought of some unique traits for some of the evolved air rides. Starting with one of my least favorite air ride is the Slick Star. I honestly don't understand why people enjoy using this contraption. Moving like you're on a pool of ice is beyond my level of comprehension, but I digress. For the evolved version of this, I suggest making it gain more speed from when it collides with the wall, basically turning you into a pinball. For the drag race match, if angled properly, you can slingshot yourself from wall to wall all the way to the finish line, potentially reaching up to speeds that would put the high speed air rides to shame. Even outside of this match type, you can utilize this to juke the enemies targeting you. Another upgrade idea I had in mind would be for the Shadow Star. Due to the offensive nature of this air ride, and also the fact that its design resembles that of a vampiric cloak, a pretty fitting ability for the Shadow Star would for it to be able to siphon off the health of the target damages. Don't know whether this should be a passive ability or one that needs to be activated, but depending on which one it is, will determine the strength of the lifesteal. Moving on to another air ride, the Swerve Star. Its evolved version will grant you a plasma shield that will either burst upon collision with another player dealing heavy damage, or by protecting you from an attack. This can only work though if the shield reaches maximum charge, which can be slowed down if the rider keeps receiving any forms of damage. The last upgrade idea I came up with can either be applied to the Rocket Star or the Jet Star, where if the player does their super boost, they will end up leaving behind a flame trail that will last a short duration. A solid ability that not only grants a temporary speed boost, but can also be utilized to cut off a desirable route that would inflict damage over time to anyone that decides to trek through it. That's pretty much all that I have for this idea. Let me know what you guys think about evolved air rides down in the comment section. And of course, if you know anyone that's a fan of this gem of a game, I definitely recommend sharing this video with them to see what their opinions are about evolved air rides. Have a good one, folks. I'll catch y'all later.